It wouldn't shock me if Will Howard was a Heisman finalist in 2024.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Wednesday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here on Wednesday, July 10th in the year 2024, I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sport stops sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Will Howard was a man that when he announced that he would be transferring from Kansas State to Ohio State, many people were like me wondering, why Will Howard? Cam Ward was out there. Dillon Gabriel was out there. There were a lot of quarterbacks that were really good out there. You're saying, hey, Ohio State pursued this guy. Ohio State pursued that guy. But no, Will Howard was a guy the Buckeyes pursued. Will Howard is a guy that transferred into the starting quarterback at Ohio State. Even though the quarterback competition is still going on right now, I still believe Will Howard should win the quarterback battle. And that even goes into why I think Will Howard should be and will be a Heisman finalist in 2024. Think about what Will Howard has at Ohio State that he did not have at Kansas State. One, a different offense. Even if it's the same kind of players, the offense is different, and it's one of those offenses that is favorable for someone as a quarterback to be, maybe be a Heisman finalist. But now let's go a little bit further. You got better players in every position on offense. O-line, tight ends, one of those iffy ones. Excuse me, I said at every position. Tight end, we're still trying to wait and see what you're going to get out of that unit. But even tight end should be a little bit different. Receiver, absolutely. Running back, absolutely. You got Ryan Day as your head coach, who also was a longtime quarterback coach and OC and play caller. So you got his brain running the whole operation and helping you out. You also got Chip Kelly as your offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. So that's something that's in your corner as well. And Will Howard all has to come in, do what he does well. Now, there may be some times where he has to make a play that he's never made before, going up against Oregon, going up against Penn State, going up against Nebraska, going up against Michigan, going up against some schools that are going to try to throw some different wrinkles at you, and it's going to make it very, very tough for Ohio State and Will Howard to do the things the Buckeyes want to do this year. But hey, he's at Ohio State. He can do it. He is good enough, and he should have a career year in the Scarlet and Gray. I said it earlier in the offseason, probably 3 or 4 months ago, that I believe Will Howard will have a career season at Ohio State, career year in this final year playing college football this year. I still believe that, and you're going to have you're going to have to put up a really good argument for me to change my thought process with that, because it just makes sense. He's too good. He's trying to get to the NFL. So, of course, you believe, hey, he's going to do some things a little bit different to make him be a better pro prospect and be a better quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes. He is also one of those guys in the top 5 who is a Heisman betting favorite via our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Goes 6 through 1. And number 6, I'm just going to put that here because it's what's right there on the screen on the graphic on the app. Number 6, best betting odds to win the Heisman via our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook, Jalen Milroe, quarterback at Alabama. Number 5 is Nico, can't say his last name, from Tennessee. Will Howard, number 5. Number 4. Number 3 is Quinn Ewers. Number 2 is Carson Beck at Georgia. Number 1 is Dillon Gabriel over at Oregon, a guy who I thought the Buckeyes should have pursued. But Will Howard was a guy that fit what Ohio State wanted. And if I'm Will Howard in the situation at Ohio State, new coach, new situation, new system, different expectations than what he would ever have at Kansas State, national championship or bust, and he's making different statements about, hey, the players, and Denzel Burke's making comments about Jeremiah Smith playing like Julio Jones and all these things. Now, I don't want to put a name and say, hey, this is a player comp for Jeremiah Smith, but if he is anything close to what people think he will be, not only some are saying he can be the best receiver at Ohio State this year, Not only are some saying that he can be the best player, best receiver in college football this year, but if he's anything close to anything people are saying, Will Howard literally has two guys that are number one receivers this year, and that one will be drafted as a first rounder this year. The other, Smith, will be a first rounder after he plays 3 years in college based off the rules. Will Howard's just got to come in here and just do his job. Now, it sounds simple to say, hey, Will Howard, come in here and just do your job. I have roles in my jobs that I have multiple where I'm saying, hey, what's asked of me? What is the requirements of me for this job? Sometimes they're free flowing and they're saying, hey, figure it out. Okay, I figure it out. Some are saying these are the expectations, these are the timestamps, these are where things are supposed to go and when they're supposed to be there. Okay, cool. Those are the parameters. Whatever the job is, whatever the position is, I, in my own occupations, have different things where, hey, these are the parameters. These are things that need to be done. And this is what we want you to do, but you have the creativity to figure things out. Well, Will Howard's going to have some things in it for him that are his job where, hey, he can be a little creative out there on the football field. They'll be able to understand and trust him with the checks. If you see this your check. Egbuka, if you see this, how about you help Will Howard right now? No, hey, if this is the defense, here's our counter. Now, why would you say work on that in July when they don't play games until September? Because if you work on it now and when you see it on the field for the first time, you're like, wait, we have literally been working on this thing for months. So I know it's the first time I've seen it with this group of guys on the football field in the regular season game, but we have been working on this thing for months. And when you work on something for months, preparing, maybe you see it once, maybe you're going to see it for the first time and only time in week 1, maybe you're only going to see that thing in the playoff, whatever it is, you've had months to prepare for that moment. There's a thing, and it really doesn't get talked about enough, is where coaches will practice certain things for certain teams that they're going to play in the upcoming season, maybe a week 6 matchup, maybe a week 8 matchup, maybe a team that they might play in the conference championship. But coaches are saying, we practice certain things, thinking about a potential matchup down the road. Now, you may have to pull that thing out the bag in the regular season or a different matchup, but ultimately, you do that for that team. That's what is a part of the game. That is expected. What is also expected is for Will Howard to come into Columbus, figure out what his job is. He knows what his job is, be the starting quarterback, lead the Buckeyes offense this year, and do it in a phenomenal way. That's his job. Now, how does he go about doing that? There are some parameters, there are some guidelines, there are some rules, there are some timestamps, but also there's a little bit of creativity. And when you got Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, and you got Ryan Day, Chip Kelly in your room, on your team, in your corner, buddy, I'd be shocked. Absolutely shocked if Will Howard was not a Heisman finalist this year, because he should be a Heisman finalist in 2024. Not only should the Buckeyes have a Heisman finalist this year, but there'll be other Buckeyes that could be Heisman finalists, and it wouldn't shock me if one of them won the award. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sporting like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. And speaking of things being first, and a guy at Ohio State, or two that could be Heisman finalists for the first time and one of them actually winning the award, I think about what Ohio State has talent-wise and what positions could possibly win the award. Yes, there could be a Heisman finalist on defense. I don't know what route to go there to say, hey, do they have a guy on defense that can be a Heisman finalist? Right now, I don't think so. When you think about a guy on defense, it's either, hey, I think Manti Te'o was a Heisman finalist on defense, but he was a linebacker at a big-time school like Notre Dame, and Ohio State is a big-time brand like Notre Dame, so you have that thing in common. But I don't think Simon, Hicks, or even Styles right now to me are guys that, hey, they can do otherworldly things at linebacker to be a Heisman finalist. And if you're playing in the secondary, I don't really see that either, because none of them are really getting all the turnovers like Jordan Hancock says the defense should get in the secondary. But also, they don't play both ways. So I don't really think it's a guy on defense. But I can see Will Howard being a finalist. If Julian Sand is the starting quarterback at Ohio State, I can see that. That's a taller task than you would think. Being a guy who's an incomer to college football and saying, oh, Heisman finalist right away, cool. It's a tall task. But Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka. I think if those were the four, I think Quinshon would be above Travion's a guy. It's weird. I think Travion could, but I think Quinshon might have the better season. And that's not a knock on Henderson. I just think based off what you think with Ohio State's offense and who is better at running between the tackles, Quinshon Judkins, I think Quinshon might be the better guy. So really it's a receiver in Jeremiah Smith or Emeka Egbuka. It wouldn't shock me at all if you had any of these four guys in Judkins, Egbuka, Henderson, or Jeremiah Smith being a Heisman finalist. And Julian Sand, if he wins the job, it wouldn't shock me there. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. He'd probably be fourth or fifth. But even then, if he does that, you're a freshman at Ohio State, a starting quarterback doing otherworldly things. Yeah, that makes sense for him to be there. But to me right now, I think Will Howard, if he does the things that we think he can do, and if he does it on the biggest stages, when you're going on the road to Eugene, I believe you go on the road to Penn State. Yeah, I know you go on the road to Penn State. When you host Michigan, those are three massive stages that Will Howard or any of these guys on the list can actually take advantage of that and saying, well, here's the stage. Here's the moment. We got all the eyeballs. It wouldn't shock me if the Oregon game, the Michigan game, and the Penn State game, all of them had at least 9.5 to 10 million viewers apiece at those games. Now, that's a massive number. Now, if it was 8.5, yeah, I can see that too, but it wouldn't shock me if you have 9.5 or 10 million viewers apiece for those games. Those are three massive stages. Now, you also are going to have the network broadcasting the game. Either NBC or Big Fox or CBS Sports is going to have that. And if you're on that CBS window for any of those games, I think the Oregon game is probably going to be an NBC or CBS Sports game, just based off the geographic portion of the country and the time zone. I think it's a CBS. I hope Fox don't do that and make that a noon Easter kickoff, please. I don't want no excuses from anybody on the West Coast. No. We don't want none of that. So, no, I think it's a CBS or NBC game. So you have the massive stage already with the opponent. You have the massive audience. You have the broadcast that's going to level up and promote the thing like crazy. Will Howard, this is it. This is what you came to Ohio State to do. You came to Ohio State to win, to be show a massive improvement at Ohio State. You came here to do big things, be the starting quarterback, win big games, beat Michigan, win the conference, win the Natty. You came here to accomplish all of the goals that Ohio State has. The stage is set. We've been talking about that Oregon game more than I anticipated all offseason. Why? Because it's that big. Oregon and Ohio State have consistently had battles on the recruiting trail this offseason, from DeCorian Moore, Jordan Davison, Dorian Brew. And people are sitting up here saying, man, Oregon got this dude, Oregon got that dude. Why are they doing that? because they're recruiting nationally. They're recruiting some of the same guys Ohio State is recruiting, where Ohio State at one time was losing guys or taking guys from Alabama, or losing guys or taking guys from Georgia, or losing guys or taking guys from Clemson, losing guys or taking guys from Texas and Oklahoma and Notre Dame and USC. Oregon's in that mix too. So we're going to continue to talk about this matchup because this just intensifies what we expect to happen on October 12th. Easily to that point, that could be the game of the year. And I don't come on here and really say game of the year that much at all. I may say 1 versus 2 at any point in time. But when I say game of the year, it's like how some people throw around the term game of the century. That's a 1 versus 2 matchup. I don't know who started the term game of the century whenever it's a number 1 team versus a number 2 team. Because if I think game of the century, there's only one game that can be game of the century, not 5 or 6 or 7. And go on the Wikipedia. Many of you that will be the nerds like I am. You'll go out there and look and say, oh, okay, game of the century. It's not just one game. There's a lot of games. We say game of the decade, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't make any sense. But I do think at the end of the season, when you look back at all of the big games, and you say, which game was a game of the year? And at Fox, if Joe Klatt, or if Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler, or Chris Johnson, or Jenny Taft, or any of Brock Heward, or Jason Benetti, any of their broadcasters or analysts, if everybody looks back at all of the games, CBS Sports, Brad Nessler, NBC, Noah Eagle, whoever it is, if you go back there and look at all of the games and say, which game was the game of the year? In the regular season, that game could be it. Now, you also have conference championship games, which have a lot weighted on them. They're magnified in a bigger way. You got playoff games, expanded playoff. You got a national championship at the end of the season. I believe that's January 20th. So there's a lot of things here. But honestly, that Ohio State-Oregon game, that could be legitimately the game of the year. And so for Will Howard to come into Ohio State and to know what the stakes are, to know what he wants to do as a player and with the team, he has to go out there in Eugene, Oregon on October 12th, show up, show out, and really show everybody in college football he is the guy to run Ohio State's offense. And to show that, hey, the stage, maybe it's going to be, and it will be the biggest stage that he has played on at Ohio State all season long. That stage ain't too big for him. He can show that not with his words, not how he talks. He can show that with his play. And if he shows up with his play and says, hey, I ain't afraid of y'all. I know y'all got ducks. I know y'all got Phil Knight money. I know all of this stuff. But if he just shows up and he does not back down and he makes all the big boy throws and makes all the right checks, makes all the right decisions, and eventually also uses his legs properly like Ryan Day and Chip Kelly want him to, the Buckeyes could be leaving Eugene with a massive, massive win. And even something right now, a lot of people don't think Ohio State's going to go out there and win that game. I am yet to make a decision about that in the preseason, but I do know this. Ohio State has the goods to win the game. And Will Howard leading that thing, leading the Buckeyes offense, I believe he has the goods to show up and show out and to lead the Buckeyes to a victory in Eugene, Oregon, which is the big reason why I think he will be a Heisman finalist, should be a Heisman finalist. And it wouldn't shock me if he won that thing at the end of the season. Not only is Will Howard a candidate to win an award at the end of the season, Ryan Day is too, as he was recently put on a Coach of the Year watch list. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. We haven't really done a lot of talking about Ryan Day recently. We've done a lot of talking about players and teams and Ohio State, and do the Buckeyes have the necessary pieces to win the Natty? And I do believe they do. And so we've done a lot of conversations about that. Sometimes you criticize Ryan Day, but not so much praising him for, at least consistently praising him for, well, the things he's done on the field as a coach and also off the field helping the players in the classroom. I don't really think we've ever really put the two together because normally it's frustration or praising Day for things he's done. But Ryan Day's done a lot of good things in the classroom with helping the players in that department as well, which is why Ryan Day is one of the 21 coaches on the Dodd Trophy watch list. The official name of this, or the organization, the foundation that releases this and hands this out, is the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Foundation. The Dodd Trophy, it's a trophy that celebrates the head coach of a team who enjoys success on the gridiron while also stressing the importance of scholarship, leadership, and integrity, the three pillars of legendary coach Bobby Dodd's coaching philosophy. So when I think about this part here, I think Ryan Day is one of those guys that should consistently be in the running for Coach of the Year runnings. Should be a name on the forefront of the tip of everybody's tongue when it comes to, well, what coach out there is the right coach? What coach out there is the kind of coach that you want leading your guys, not just on the football field, but also puts an emphasis on the things going on in the classroom? I think Ryan Day is that guy. Jim Tressel is the only Ohio State coach to win the award. And you may say, Jay, it's a little shocking. Yes, it is. It's very, very shocking. And the award has been handed out since 1976. So when you think about that, Jim Tressel being the only Ohio State coach to win this award, dating back to 76 when it was first handed out, I think that just goes to show what it takes to be able to win the award. Now, there are some other coaches that are on the watch list. Mike Norvell is the reigning winner of the award. Other previous coaches who were on this year's watch list, Dabo Swinney won the award in 2011. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa won the award in 2015. Brian Kelly won that thing when he was at Notre Dame in 2018. And then Kyle Whittingham won that thing for Utah in 2019. A day in the academic progress rate, which is a score that the foundation utilizes to influence and impact how they hand this award out. Ryan Day's right now is 1,000. There aren't many guys on this list right now that have a 1,000. I can go through them very quickly for you. Lance Leipold over there at Kansas. Chris Kleiman over there at Kansas State. Marcus Freeman over there at up there at Notre Dame. Over there, up there, same thing. Ryan Day, and then Mario Cristobal down there at Miami. So that's one of the things that Ryan Day has in his favor, is having that 1,000 or academic progress rate score of 1,000. You're doing something right. Now you got guys like Jeff Brom at Louisville with a 982 and Dave Doran at NC State with 984. Eli Drinkowitz at Missouri at 997. Kirk Ferentz at 993. So you get the gist. Lane Kiffin at 993, whatever you say about Lane Kiffin, doing something right down there at Ole Miss too. Mike Norvell, 997. Lincoln Riley, 997. Steve Sarkisian, 997. Oh, speaking of Sark in Texas, I don't know if any of you saw the video that went around where Arch Manning announced that he would actually be in the game. EA Sports College Football 25. Originally, he was not going to be in the game at all. Decided not to. I don't know if that was a marketing ploy where his dad, Cooper, and his uncles, Eli and Peyton, were like, hey, how about we wait this thing out? You want to be in the game, but how about we wait this thing out, use the production company that Peyton owns, Omaha Productions, and allow Eli, your uncle, to be in the video with you when you announce, hey, you're going to be in the game. And I watched that video from start to finish. I enjoy what they did. I saw Eli first, and I'm thinking, okay, Eli, what are you up to? And then I saw Arch with the shoulder pads, and he said, EA Sports, I'm in the game. Threw up the horns. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. But also, I heard that man got the bag. If that report is true, that man got a bag to be in the game, hey, shout out to the Mannings for doing this thing right and continuing to help their family make a whole lot more money. This right here is a great way for Ryan Day to make a whole lot more money as well. Now, Ryan Day's already in the game. Arch Manning, by being in the game, he got a bag. I believe from EA, he got $600, and also he got a free copy of the game, which, great, cool. I love all of that. But Ryan Day down the road, if Ryan Day happens to win a Coach of the Year award, and it's this one that factors in your academics for the team and also the play on the field, it's going to be hard for Ross Bjork, the new AD at Ohio State, assuming that Ryan Day keeps his job for as long as he wants to, for the next time Day is up for a contract extension or contract negotiations are underway, for him to say, oh, no, we can't give you that. And Ryan Day's like, look, sir, you see this? You see what I got right here? Something that only one other Ohio State football coach has ever won. Bobby Dodd Trophy, Coach of the Year award. You want to keep me, right? You want to keep them academic standards high. You want to keep the things where they need to be. You want to make sure that the guys are graduating and even raising the graduation rate. It's kind of hard to go against that argument right there because Ryan Day's resume as far as win-losses, it's really good. It's not perfect, but it's really good. Has Ryan Day lost some big games? Yes. He's also won some big games too. So Ryan Day, in his first time being a head football coach at college or the NFL, really any level, done a lot of good things, done a lot of things right. So this is a great thing for Ryan Day. And honestly, when talking about Will Howard or Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson or anybody at Ohio State who might need some added motivation to do certain things in the scarlet and gray this year, this could be something for Ryan Day too. Go out there, utilize what you have, utilize your resources to be a better coach. You got Chip Kelly, you call him the player, so that's one thing off your to-do list to prepare for the game. You got Jim Knowles being the head coach of the defense. Okay, great. That's one more thing to take off your plate to allow Jim Knowles to run that thing. You got Laurinaitis and Larry Johnson. You got Matt Guerrero. You got Tim Walton. Defense is set. You got Justin Fry. You got Coach Key. You got Brian Hartline. You got Carlos Loughlin. That's set. Yeah, there's going to be some question marks along the way, maybe with a coach or two. Maybe some question marks along the way with recruiting. There's going to be some question marks along the way when it comes to game preparation. But use this as a motivation to make that thing done, make that thing happen. Because one thing that would be great for Ryan Day is for Ryan Day at the end of the year to be able to not only be on the watch list now, but for Ryan Day to hold up that trophy and talk about what it means, not only to him, but the university, and to say, hey, there's only one of the Ohio State coaches ever won this award. It's Jim Tressel. And it was early in Tressel's tenure at Ohio State. Now, Ryan Day has been at Ohio State for quite a long time, and I think he deserves to win some postseason award. May it be Big Ten Coach of the Year every 2 or 3 years? I think so. I think it could happen more than it has. May it be something else, some other award? Why? Ryan Day's teams not only are in positions to win, they often win and do a lot of good things on the field. And I think Ryan Day, who has been criticized by myself and others for a lot of things he's done, he's also done a lot of things right. And I would personally love for Ryan Day at the end of the year to do what is needed to help Ohio State, to help the team, and ultimately be able to lift off this award because it's a little bit different than others. It's not just going off the win-losses and how your team performed in big games and different teams you beat. This goes with things that happen in the classroom. And I do think that means a whole lot, not only to Ryan Day, but a lot of players at Ohio State and their parents because they want their kids to be able to graduate from the Ohio State University. Have you heard the big news that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. You can follow me on X at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. We're out of here on a Wednesday. We'll see you next time.